My Massacre and the Court-Martial of Lieutenant William Calley by Lindsay Bazinas and Matt Hall. On March 16, 1968, several Americans stormed into the village of My and killed hundreds of innocent Vietnamese civilians. Among them, 50 children 3 years or younger, 69 children between the ages of 4 and 7, and 27 Vietnamese people in their 70s and 80s. The American soldiers were angered by all their unanswered losses and took it out on the village after the Charlie Company lost 28 of its members to death or injury. Only one American was injured, a GI who accidentally shot himself in the foot. Other than that, not a single shot was fired against the Charlie Company on that day. The massacre only stopped when a young helicopter pilot by the name of Hugh Thompson threatened to open fire on American soldiers in order to save the innocent Vietnamese civilians. He became known as the hero of My Lai after landing his aircraft in between the American soldiers and the Vietnamese. The cover-up of the massacre included the 11th Brigade claiming that they had killed 128 Viet Cong during the operation. The commanding officer of the Charlie Company, Ernest Medina, claimed that only 20 to 28 civilians had been killed. This was kept up for a year until 22-year-old Ron Renauer wrote letters to 30 congressional and military officers fully describing the events that took place at My Lai that day. The cover On March 29, 1971, Lieutenant Calley was found guilty of personally killing 22 innocent civilians, while his platoon was held responsible for killing nearly 200 innocent people. When asked the question, "Whatever you did at My Lai on that occasion, in your opinion, you are acting rightly and according to your understanding of your directions and orders?" his answer was, "I was ordered to go in and destroy the enemy. That was my job that day. That was the mission I was given. I did not sit down and think in terms of men, women, and children, just of the enemy." Lieutenant William Calley was sentenced to prison, but just after 3 days of being sentenced, President Nixon stepped in and ordered the convicted war criminal dismissed from his hard labor and placed under house arrest, where he stayed until he had a proper trial. Once the trial got underway, his sentence was set to life in prison. However, it wasn't long after that his sentence was reduced to 20 years by the Court of Military Appeals, and then reduced down to 10 years by the Secretary of the Army. Even after being reduced multiple times, Lieutenant William Calley was freed after serving just 3.5 years of his lifelong sentence. Lieutenant William Calley was sentenced to The massacre of My Lai was by far one of the worst attacks recorded during the Vietnam War. Over 200 innocent lives were lost at once. In March 1970, the U.S. Army Inquiry Board charged 14 officers, including Calley and Ernest Medina, for their crimes at My Lai. My Lai was soon front-page news and an international scandal. The massacre of My